But he's made some fun movies. I'll give him that. He made Deep Blue Sea, and if you made Deep Blue Sea, you get a little bit of credit in my book. What do you think about a movie that came out a few years ago? Actually, it's a series now, The Strangers. Because I haven't seen The Strangers. I started it one time.
Really?
Yeah, I started
No.
it. I watched a few minutes of it. I never I didn't get into it. It's one of those movies I keep saying I'm going to watch it eventually. I heard the second one was not good. Prey by Night, I think it's called.
Yeah, no, it was fucking awful.
The first one I know has a rabid fan base, but I can't say because I haven't finished it. I haven't seen it. I know what happens in the end. That's the other thing is I know how it ends. So it's kind of like some of the mystique is taken away from me, so I don't feel the need to watch it. But I will watch it eventually, I guess, maybe. What do you think of the movie The Strangers? 2008. Came out.
The Strangers actually is pretty good. It came in a time when you had like Vacancy, and that movie that James Mangold directed, the one with based off 10 Little Indians.
John
Cusack in it.
Funny Games? No, he didn't make that.
Funny Games too, and there was one with John Cusack and Ray Liotta and
Identity.
Yeah, Identity. Yeah, it came at a time with those types of that's a good film. But it came at a time when those films were coming out, so it makes a lot of sense that it would be successful because that's the time period it was. I don't think it's like the greatest movie in the world. It has the dude from Underworld in it and playing the husband, and it has Liv Tyler playing the wife. Yes, thank you, Scott Speedman.
And Speed too.
But it's not like the greatest film in the world, but it's enjoyable. It's a good early 2000s horror film. It's based off a true story apparently, which is crazy.
Yeah, vaguely.
Prey by Night.
I do know that like it's very loosely based on true story because nobody really knows what happened.
Yeah, right. But it's like what's that fucking The Purge, where it's entertaining for what it's worth, but it's not like
Home Invasion.
You're not. Yeah, Home Invasion. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest film in the world. So.
Well, what would you say? And this part of this news got released actually a bit earlier than the second part I'm going to talk about. But what would you say if I told you that The Strangers, which already has one sequel, is getting 3 more sequels?
So what's the next story?
Yeah, right.
No. This is Overload. This is like when they did Paranormal Activity and Saw. I liked the first couple Saw movies, but then it got ridiculous and stupid, and
at least those came out within a similar time that the originals did. Though this is what 15 years later.
Yeah, that's the problem. Prey by Night came out like a long time after the original movie, and it was awful. I hate horror films. No, I really don't hate horror films. I hate I hate the fact of like the marketing machine.
He said it, not me.
Fucking marketing machine. Yeah, no, I love horror films. Like Halloween's one of my favorite horror films, but the marketing machine of when a horror films becomes successful is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It's worse than animated films, to be fairly honest. And you watch like an original horror film like Paranormal Activity or Halloween, and then you get 25 sequels after that, and it's just like, okay, I don't care anymore. Just what do we have next? It's like Halloween, the new trilogy that just came out. What do we have next? Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this next piece, which is actually the crux of this story, will change your mind on it. Maybe it will. We'll find out. Apparently, these 3 sequels that we're getting for The Strangers, no story details or anything like that. We don't know when they're coming, how they're coming, but we do know one thing about them, and that is that Renny Harlin will direct at least one of the planned sequels, though he may actually end up directing all 3. Harlan is known, by the way, for his genre work, having directed films such as A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Exorcist, The Beginning, and of course, one of my favorites, Deep Blue Sea. I guess when I read this, not having seen the original Strangers, but understanding what it is and knowing basically what it is, and knowing that it's been so long, and okay, Renny Harlin's why? That's all I could think. That is all I got. Why? 3 Stranger sequels after we've already gotten one. If there had never been a Stranger sequel, I think maybe that might make even just a little bit more. I'd still be saying why, but there was a Stranger sequel that, while it made money, apparently it didn't light the world on fire. Most people, I think, said it wasn't good, like you said. But why are we getting not one? If they were doing one, I'd be like, okay, they're doing another Stranger. No, they're doing fucking 3. And some people are saying that it may be a situation like Fear Street, where they're doing 3 movies that have an overarching story. Which, what I know about these characters and this film, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's something there. But we are getting them. They may all be linked, and Renny Harlin may be directing them all. What do you think about Renny Harlin and this news that he's going to be taking on this iconic franchise?
This is how I feel. This is how I'm doing the rest of the show. No, I'm kidding. Renny Harlin is not the worst director. We can clearly say who the worst director is, and that, of course, is Uwe Ball or George Lucas. No, I'm kidding.
Once again, he said it. The Uwe Boll thing, I think people will agree with you with. He said the George Lucas thing.
But Renny Harlin has directed like The Long Kiss Goodnight, and he directed, I think he did Long Kiss Goodnight.
Cliffhanger, yeah, he did Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, Cliffhanger and Die Hard 2, Die Harder. You know, he's a director that is kind of like Brett Ratner, where he's a director for hire. But I think the main problem is they're doing 3 films. I don't care if they're gonna do what they did with Fear Street. I don't really need 3 more Stranger movies. I don't. So I really don't care about this.
Me neither.
So yeah.
But I mean, the movies are popular, or the movie was popular. So I'm just kind of really just why after all this time, who was sitting there in a boardroom and just said, because that's where this came from, was a fucking boardroom, and said, hey, you know what we need, guys? The Strangers. And everybody, I feel like everybody in the boardroom was like, what? Like in that Guardians of the Galaxy with the one guy, he said Star-Lord, and he goes, who? That's what I think happened when somebody said The Strangers. We need some sequel, some sequel bait here, or some sequels to get some money in. The Strangers. Who? That's what I think happened. I don't understand why this is a thing, unless they just have somebody came up with an amazing idea that nobody else could see coming. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe these movies will come out and just be fucking amazing. I don't see it though. But
I don't either, but you gotta have faith, as George Michael and Limp Bizkit once said.
Yeah, I'm not gonna Limp Bizkit. I'm not gonna judge prior to seeing it, especially since I haven't even seen the original fucking movie. But I do know there's a lot of Strangers fans out there, and if you are a fan of The Strangers from 2008 or even its sequel, just I guess be excited that you're getting 3 more movies, and Renny Harlin, depending on how you feel about him. That's probably the one thing that made me somewhat, I'm not gonna say excited, but kind of like, okay, I'm mildly interested, because Renny Harlin has made some good and bad movies, but he's made some fun movies. I'll give him that. He made Deep Blue Sea, and if you made Deep Blue Sea, you get a little bit of credit in my book. So
yeah, Long Kiss Goodnight is underrated. If people haven't seen that movie, definitely check that movie out too.
Oh yeah, it's you got Gina Davis breaking a elk's neck out in the snow, and that's another interesting one. But The Strangers fans, you got more coming your way at some point in the relative future, I guess.